My name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the dating checklist for a dismissive avoidant attachment style individual. So this will be part one of a two-part series for the DA specifically, or a six-part series for all the different insecure attachment styles that we're doing in two parts each, because I know there's a lot of information in here and a lot of really important things to cover. If you are interested in doing a much deeper dive into all of this and more in-depth versions of this for each of the 6 stages of a relationship, including the honeymoon, power struggle, commitment, stability commitment is the actual reverse order, and bliss phase, then we do have advanced attachment style courses for that, and how to reprogram your potential pain points, patterns, as well as how to understand your expectations, the expectations and timelines of others to move through each of the different phases, and how to reprogram core beliefs that might be inhibiting you in each of the stages and preventing you from moving through the life cycle of a relationship to the bliss phase. So you can check that out. We have a coupon code with you, all one word. I'll put it in the description box below and a link on this video, and that is to enter the school as an all-access member, which gives you access to all of the 35 plus courses that we have. We add 2 new ones every single month. It gives you access to 4 live webinar calls I do a week with everybody who is a member of PDS, as well as all the past recorded webinars. There's close to 200 now, and to our community. So we have a Discord chat channel, we have a members forum, a members lounge, all these places you can connect and do the work with like-minded people. So feel free to check that out. And let's get into this video. So first and foremost, as I mentioned, the dating stage of a relationship is the stage that we are supposed to vet somebody and assess. And the reason that we have to do this and do our research and really see, does this person work for us? Do we work for this person? Are we a healthy match? Can we see ourselves together long term? Is because relationships have a massive impact on our lives. They impact us more than almost anything else. And when we commit to somebody and we spend a lot of time with them, because our subconscious programming is shifted and shaped by repetition plus emotion, if we are in a relationship with somebody and they have qualities that could bring us down or hurt us, and we're repeatedly exposed to them, they will rub off on us long term. But by the same token, if they have qualities that we need to harvest more within ourselves, or they bring us up in certain ways, or maybe they're ambitious, or they're funny and fun and things that we need, then that's gonna have a really positive impact on our lives. And we have to be careful, because people around us can have an impact on our own subconscious minds to a very strong degree. And so what we want to do and how we want to look at the dating phase of a relationship is it's a time to really get to know people. It's a time to see, does somebody fit into our lives? Could we fit into theirs? And we want to take our time to properly assess this. Now, nobody really knows that better than the dismissive avoidant themselves, because they tend to take the dating stage of a relationship very slowly, and they're very hesitant to commit before jumping into the honeymoon phase and having some sort of exclusivity dynamic in their relationship. And so what this is all about for a dismissive avoidant is that they sometimes have a fear of commitment, a fear of vulnerability, a fear of being trapped, a fear of being unhappy, and a fear of giving up their sense of self. And so they can avoid commitment. And sometimes dismissive avoidants will spend a lot of time as well in the dating phase of a relationship being so focused on what they expect from somebody else that they forget sometimes within themselves that they have to do a little bit of opening up. They have to accept somebody's flaws a little bit at times and recognize not everybody's perfect. And they also have to see, do I fit for this person? Does this person like me? And you sort of want to wonder, do I fit into this person's life, and could I make this person happy as well? If we look at APs by on the other end of the continuum, you see that anxious, preoccupied individuals are do I fit into your life? Do I fit into your life? Do you like me? Am I good enough? All these different things. But they forget to be wait a second, do you fit into my life? And so we sort of want to, balance these things out here. And this is a really big, important part for the DA. So step number 1 of the checklist for the dismissive avoidant is, as always, am I clear about what I want? Okay, intentionality, clarity is key. Go into your relationships knowing what you want. And like I give the analogy, it's like starting a business and not knowing what business you want to start, or what the mission and vision statement is of your business, or what you want it to look like, or what you want its function to be. Yes, you could still be extremely smart and talented, and you could make any business work, but you're going to run into a lot more obstacles because you didn't have a blueprint, you didn't have plans, and so you're going to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. And the same analogy applies to our relationships. We can save ourselves a lot of time and energy and obstacles of stress and conflict and fighting by being clear and intentional about what it is that we need or want ahead of time. And this includes things like the traits you want, the qualities or characteristics in the person, the morals and values you want somebody to have that might line up with yours, future plans, lifestyle should line up. If one person wants to travel the world and move around every 3 months for the rest of their life, and somebody else wants to like settle down and have a home, a base, and be rooted, obviously these are conversations that need to be had. I do not advise showing up to a first date with your checklist and being like, here we go. Like, what about this? What about this? It's not a job interview, but you want to have these things in the back of your mind. And every so often on a date, you want to open up this dialogue or conversation, like what do you value? What are your morals and values? Or like, what morals are most important to you? Or, what traits are important to you in another person? Or what traits would you describe yourself as if you were to say 5? Like, you can sort of play these games or have fun and insert a question here and there. And your job is to collect data and get that information over time. However, DAs are quite skilled at this, but I can't leave this out of the video. DAs are quite skilled at vetting somebody and taking the time to do it, not necessarily asking the deep questions to get clear answers. And sometimes DAs can make assumptions that can lead to potential conflict or pain points long term. So that's important to be aware of. So that's step 1. Number 2, am I clear about what I don't want? Okay. Things like maybe you don't want somebody to smoke around you or to smoke in the house. Maybe you don't want somebody who doesn't have the same views as you on religion or whatever it might be. Are you clear about those things? Number 3, am I clear about my boundaries ahead of time when dating? Now, dismissive avoidants are very good at knowing their survival boundaries. So, like, if they feel really depleted emotionally, they're good at being like, I need to leave, and being kind of abrupt and sometimes blunt. If they feel like they're invaded or they're unsafe in a situation, again, they can be very abrupt, blunt, put up a hard wall. But often dismissive avoidants aren't really great with the boundaries in between. So sometimes they won't know their emotional boundaries. Sometimes they won't know the boundaries that they have for how quickly they feel comfortable, moving at a specific pace in a relationship. And sometimes when these things are not known by this individual ahead of time, they again leave more room for conflict or problems. So if you know, for example, that I'm let's say you're dismissive avoidant and you're like, I'm interested in settling down or finding somebody to be in a monogamous romantic relationship with, and for me, that's going to take at least 6 months of like trying to get to know somebody and being patient. If you know that ahead of time, you can have that conversation at some point if you feel pressured. If you don't know that and you're not clear with what your boundaries is or your time frame is, or that you might just have a boundary of wanting to move slowly, then you're going to run into conflicts where maybe you feel pressured and you push people away and you get frustrated or resentful, or all these different like pain points can happen. So you want to know ahead of time what some of your boundaries are in the dating phase of a relationship in general, so that if needed, you can pull those things out from your back pocket and have a conversation and it goes well, right? So that is number 3. Number 4, of course, am I evaluating if this person is a good fit for my life? Number 5, am I evaluating if I'm a good fit for this person's life? Like we talked about, really important. Number 6, and I'm about to open a can of worms, and then you're going to have to stay tuned for part 2 of this DA series here. Am I deactivating over small things? Often what can happen is dismissive avoidance, as they start to feel more vulnerable, or if they like somebody, they can either have patterns that pop up where they want to sabotage the relationship. So they might have feelings and then they might feel like, whoa, I feel too much too fast. And then maybe they'll go on another date with somebody else to distract themselves from their feelings because they don't like that they're feeling so much. They might, sleep with an ex or reconnect with an ex or something like that. I've seen a lot of dynamics like this over the years. And it's actually because they're scared of how much they feel when they're interested, right? So this can, not only can they confuse themselves, but they can, obviously confuse another person if the person were to know or see them on a date or something like that, obviously the dating phase is not usually characterized by having some kind of commitment. So these things could still be okay, but they can also muddy the waters, right? Especially if you're later into the dating phase and it's been 4 or 5 months and you're seeing each other frequently and then something like this takes place, it can be a little bit confusing for everybody. So, and again, this is assuming that you want a monogamous relationship, things like this. Of course, that's not for everybody either. Now, the next thing that you want to be aware of when we talk about the same point, am I deactivating over small things? So, deactivating over fear and then doing things to create space between yourself and somebody else, like talking to that ex or reaching out to that person from your past. But also, am I finding these really tiny excuses to push people away, which is a huge thing that DAs do. Like, I've heard stories over the years like, oh, this woman left her food on the counter and she didn't throw it away and she forgot. Meanwhile, the lady had to rush off and she had an emergency call and, oh, I could never be with somebody like that. Or being really nitpicky about what somebody wore or how somebody responded to a comment or one thing that they said, even though everything else is going so right and so well. And usually the dismissive avoidant, when they're in this space, is telling themselves a story that, I'm pushing the person away because they're not a good fit because of this particular thing, and they can really hone in on that thing and really focus on it and justify to friends or family or other people why this isn't a match because of this thing. But what's really interesting is a lot of what's actually happening is that's the sort of subconscious and conscious piece, but it's more almost unconsciously or deeply subconsciously motivated by the fear of having feelings and being rejected or abandoned. And that fear is buried so deeply that they just get these subconscious self-sabotage strategies for the relationships that they feel, and they justify and make it to the conscious mind, when sometimes they don't realize that a lot of what's happening beneath the surface is motivated by the need to stay safe, avoid getting hurt, not wanting to be vulnerable, fearing that vulnerability is weakness, these sorts of things. And so you really need to have this in check if you are the dismissive avoidant, to recognize if you're doing this so that you can clean up some of your patterns and habits if this is the case. So I have our next 7 or so parts of your checklist all ready for you in part 2, which you'll see probably tomorrow after this video is launched if you're tuned into this series and checking in. And we will go into some much deeper layers of the dismissive avoidant dating checklist. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you are getting value from this channel. It would mean a lot to me and make me super happy. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our community, and I will see you in the next video.